but I've had so many guns come in with optic ready systems that I've had to extract screws out of because they didn't hold up with the plate systems and the optic went flying. So it's kind of one of those things. I don't trust plate systems.
Yo, what up, though, everybody? This is another episode of the Pop Culture 223 podcast. Hope that didn't come in too strong. It looked like it was a little bit loud. But, yo, we back here with another podcast, man. Back at it again. I told you in 2025, we're doing a lot of this stuff different locations. I'm in the basement. I don't know if y'all remember Big Ticket back in the day, but he used to do ciphers in the basement. So I'm in the basement. But before we get into the show, I need you to hit that like and subscribe button right here at the bottom somewhere. Like I said, so you can catch our algorithm. I need you to comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz, so I can catch our algorithm real quick, real fast. So today I got a new guest on, man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Some of you may know him, some of you may not, but I've been a real supportive. I've been rocking their stuff for a while, even in the beginning. Like I said, I got my shirt. I had to go dig this out. This is a Floyd custom work shirt, and I got Floyd, but I think first name Jeffrey, last name Floyd. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself, so I don't mess nothing else up. So this all you, brother. It's all you.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Floyd with Floyd's Custom Shop. We're a small Christian family business. We've got basically four employees right now, and only well, I guess half of the company I would say isn't family right now. But my parents have kind of stepped back, and me and my sister are kind of taking things over now. So
Um, and I want to say, and like I said, we here. I want to say thanks for coming on, man. I know we.
yeah, thank you.
You said this is your first podcast. So I wish I had no.
Yes.
Something like yeah, first podcast. I wish I had some boop, 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 things we can hit. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, man, thanks for coming on the Pop Culture 2 to 3 podcast. It being your first one, man. Like I said, I really do appreciate it. Coming on the show. How is it working with your
Yeah, happy
sister,
to be
man?
here.
How's it working with your sister?
It's
Cause my sister can
it's
be a
good,
pain in the ass.
we've fought a lot growing up, but now that we're older, we're more friends, so it's pretty good. She, listens to what I got to say, and sometimes she'll do her own thing, but we work well together. So
That's good, and amen to you saying it's a Christian run company. Today,
mhm.
unfortunately, everybody, I was out at I was in church. I was in church. You know what I'm saying? I listened to the word on the way there. Got up early, read it,
Mhm.
but I did go shoot some IDPA. I shot an IDPA match today with the homies
Yeah,
over there at Raccoons Club. I didn't technically go to church, but my mama did, so she prayed for me. So I guess that's all. She was sending me my passages the other day and cursing me out at the same time because I didn't show up at church. But Mama, I'll be there next Sunday with you. Yeah, bright and early. Me and Dylan, my son. So, uh, so tell me how you got it. Tell me how you started, because I know you had mentioned that Dad was a tooling guy. I mean, he was in the tooling
mhm,
dies. So let's just
mhm.
tell me how you got into it and how all that came up and all that jazz.
Yeah. So he was a tool and die worker. He worked when we moved up here back in '93. He worked for a company that was called, I think it was Flexel at the time. It changed names a few different times, but basically working on doing that. Always mechanically sound, making stuff. Got a couple machines out in the garage growing up, so just kind of doing odd jobs here and there on them, just kind of learning how to machine stuff, and then we would shoot IDPA and different competitions and stuff growing up, and a lot of the parts and stuff that were out there for competition and stuff just it didn't feel like it was made by shooters. It felt like it was made by someone that kind of has a general idea of what you want, but doesn't really, know what you want. And
So
so we
Dad,
started.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. So you say Dad can get down, so he can shoot a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't shoot IDP anymore, but he's into three gun right now.
Hey man, I'm a buster. I can't go out there and shoot shotguns like that, man.
Yeah.
I'm a two gunner. We got a match up here. It's called Axe. It's American Federation of Tactical Shooters. and it was started by some veterans coming home from the war, and they wanted to keep their skills tight, so they started this. They started doing these stages, and it's basically it's two gun. So I
Hmm.
shoot more two gun than I do anything, but I do want to get into shotguns. I just couldn't figure out running around with a rifle, especially dumping the rifle and then grabbing the shotgun,
Hmm.
dumping that, and it's just like, nah, that's too much. So I was a little punk.
It
I didn't want to shoot the shotty.
right. It's definitely different, but we actually did a lot of the prototype stuff on the Versamax shotgun when it came out, and so it was kind of his in on getting into the shotgun part of it because he was like, "Well, we did stuff for this," so it was kind of cool at the time.
So is that how y'all kind of first like got into like the gun space? Was it like
Hmm.
shooting IDPA and competition? Let's just say in the competition world, just so it can encompass everything. So is that how y'all actually got into it? Like, okay, let me make some, since we I know how to
Hmm.
engineer these parts and I got the machine. Let me make something for my guns, my firearms, my
Hmm.
toys to go out there just because I feel like this can improve me. This can help me in these matches. So is that how y'all got into it?
Pretty much. Our first part actually was the Glock plug. Back in the day, it was the Glock. I think it was the Glock 30 that my dad made the original plug for, which I think might have it in here, or it might be in the safe in the house. But basically, the Glocks have that big old hole in the back of the backstrap. And
Okay.
so the Glock
Oh,
30 being a short frame, you get that, pinch whenever you're reloading a mag. And so he designed that plastic plug that a lot of people sell now that go in the back there. We made them for Lone Wolf distributors. The first one was made out of aluminum because he was prototyping it, and then we had plastic injection mold made, and we sold those to Lone Wolf for a lot of years. Did a bunch of stuff for them. He made contacts through his work with a bunch of guys for Remington Defense that left whatever they were doing and then started making stuff for them. They contacted my dad because he knew what he was doing, and we prototyped a bunch of stuff for them on the Versamax, on the what's that one? I forget what it's called, but a bunch of different rifle stuff. We did prototype stuff and then stuff for Lone Wolf for years, and then we decided, you know what, let's just make our own parts and try to see how that goes. And it's been taken off with our name ever since then. So we've been
so
doing stuff for 25 years probably.
So in 25 years of actually R&D and finding out what works, but the
Hmm.
thing you said that I like, well, first of all, my homeboy like he's a Glock dude, but he always get pinched because he got them fat
Oh yeah.
hands. He always get the Glock pinch. You ain't a shooter, you ain't got a Glock pinch. You ain't shooting
Hmm.
enough. But I remember them Glocks with the beaver tails and them
Hmm.
plugs and all this and that. But one thing was cool that you said that y'all created stuff from like y'all were shooters, y'all created stuff for shooters, and I think that's
Right.
a unique way of looking at stuff and approaching things opposed to just making something because the industry may ask you to do it or whatever, but really understanding what a shooter needs to perform and for his firearm, perform. So I think that was
Hmm.
I like to hear when people say, "Yeah, I was a shooter first, and then I created this for shooters," opposed to just throwing
Right.
something out there on the market and it ain't, what I'm saying. It ain't what it is. It don't work or
Oh
don't
yeah.
work right, or you can tell there wasn't no thought into it.
Yeah. There's a lot of times people will come to me with some idea they've got, and sometimes they're good ideas, and we'll, try to make something for them out of it. But a lot of times people have, subcompact guns and they want a magwell on it. And it's like, well, there's a reason we don't make that because when you can only get these two fingers on there, and your magwell is going to come out in between these two, you're going to have to open your grip in order to slam the mag in, and that completely defeats the purpose of a magwell.
Hey Jeff, let's sit down. Let me draw this. Let me get my piece of paper. I got five
Uh-huh.
lines that said it look like
Right.
hangman, and I want you to recreate this on a computer, digitize it, put it in CAD, all for my
Right.
brand. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know, I know a little bit about that. One gun,
Yeah.
the M&P Gen 1 subcompact. I
Hmm.
it, my pinky was always hanging off, and that was like a mental thing. Like I don't like that. and I was just
Yep.
like, yeah. And this is before I knew about the Floyd Custom words, but I sold that gun just because my hand wasn't comfortable enough on there because of that. Because my pinky was just hanging off, and then they had like the extended mag with the little pinky rest, I want to call
Hmm.
it, whatever. But it was just
You
like,
gotta
yeah.
open up your hand in order to make a mag chain still.
Right, I got man hands, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I
Oh
got
yeah.
man hands, so it was unfortunately I sold it. It was like, the subcompact,
Hmm.
it was a little shorty boy, but like I said, I got rid of it. And then I
Hmm.
jumped into, the other ones. I keep hearing myself echoing the thing, but that's cool. So when did y'all get into like the actual doing the Magwells and then like the base plates? How did that come about? Like, it's okay. Let's start here.
Hmm. We started making a magwell for a Glock back.
Dang, y'all made Magwells for Glocks too. That's where y'all started. Okay.
We started with Glock. We were big Glock fans. That's what I shot in IDPA back in the day when I was like 14 and stuff. And so we started with the Glock Magwell for the Gen 3, and then we made extensions and stuff. We actually brought them to Lone Wolf to see if they were interested, and they weren't. So we're like, okay. So we started kind of, pushing that and starting to do our own thing. And then like pretty soon after that, I picked up the first M&P 2.0, and that's when I was like, all right, this is better. It was much better. And so we started making magwells and stuff for that. It was probably 2018, I want to say. Um, and then ever since then, a customer actually came to us about the EDC style. They wanted a slim, style magwell for the M&P for EDC use, and we hadn't actually thought that much about the EDC side of stuff until then. And I started playing with it, and then the M&P compact frame came out, and I picked that up and made the magwell for that. And I was like, this is actually an awesome gun, and with an EDC magwell on it, it's nice and low profile, so it doesn't really, increase your printing that much versus just, having the standard mag in there. Plus, with the magwell, you get such a better grip on it that, it could kind of open my eyes to the, EDC side of stuff of, hey, you don't have to carry just a stock gun. You can carry a gun that's as easy to make mag changes as it is with a competition gun and still protect yourself with it.
I remember when we first kind of jumped into like IDPR competition. It was like everybody had the flare Magwells,
Hmm.
and they were all look like fish bowls at the bottom. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It was huge and big. And then I don't, and then you go to their website and it looked weird. Like, it wasn't like
Hmm.
professional. I don't know who. I can't remember the name of the website we went to, but then I seen my homeboy Ken Scott. I don't remember Perfectors Group. He uh
Yep.
he had a bunch. He was a big opponent of Floyd Customs, and then I went to the
Hmm.
website. You're the only one that I seen that had different uh, sizes. It was big, small competition in EDC.
Hmm.
So I think I bought every EDC one y'all had. Like, for all my carries was always the small one. I never went into like the huge, the big ones. Because I
Hmm.
didn't even my competition guns are not like all competition. Like, I can still carry those everyday carry or
Right.
whatever. So they all purpose. It's not like it's all the way. Like, even with the M&P, I got a competitor, but the competitor has a bigger magwell, but it's kind of more for competition. But all my other
Hmm.
ones, every M&P I got is a Floyd Custom, like the EDC small one, and that was cool because like you don't print, you don't show, even with the
Hmm.
mag plates on it. All that stuff is just sexy. Go in there and then you know, you can grab them out. You got the little left sides on there that you can just yank it out or fall out or whatever. So like I said,
Right.
those were dope because when I jumped, I was like, oh, they got something there. Like, because all of them
Hmm.
were like just cool looking and everything. So I do remember that with those. What do you
Yeah.
think about when somebody come and say, and this is probably jumping ahead a little bit, when they got the EDC carry, and are you a opponent of like porting a EDC gun?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
does it matter?
Like, it's
Only why I say that because some
there's
people
the.
be like,
Mhm.
you got your EDC, you don't want to have it ported out at the top because you might catch on fire or your clothes or you know what I'm saying, this, that, and the third,
Right.
and all that. I guess it popped in my head. So let me ask you,
Hmm.
what's your take
I
on
mean,
that?
the I'm very for it. There is, drawbacks of, hey, if you're shooting close range, you could get burnt. Yes, but there's there's the aspect of if someone is attacking you or something, they could be close range and, most likely are, but if they're that close range, are you going to be able to pull your gun in time? Where if they're far off coming at you with a knife or something, those follow-up shots are very important because if you get one good shot and it's, slowing him down, but not enough to, take out someone trying to kill you, then, really those follow-up shots are very important, especially if he can, get to you within 15 seconds. So I'm very, pro porting my EDC.
I guess
I've
I'm
got
asking a guy that owns a company that port guns, is he pro porting
right.
or not
So I've
porting?
got our commander porting on my EDC. I've got, my optic on there. I've got my light, got our Magwell, of course, and it's, all set up, ready to go. So any situation, I could take that and I could shoot competition, or I could carry it every day. I like to be able to do the same thing with it and have an all around gun for everything rather than something like a lot of people like pocket guns for EDC. And I just don't understand that. I understand the printing aspect. You want something light that's not bulky on you. But if you're going to, dedicate yourself to be carrying every day, you should carry something that you can actually hit a target with.
You know,
Because if you accidentally hit something else that you're not intending to because that gun is so flippy, then there's no point in carrying it.
so two things there. I work at a gun part time at a gun shop, and the guys
Hmm.
come in there and they ask like some of the questions people coming into a gun shop. They ask some of the questions you can't make this shit up. Like did you like? I tell people like what they say. They're like, I'm like, bro, I didn't make that shit up. Like they come in there and really
Hmm.
ask like crazy questions. And it's questions about ball ammo and hollow point ammo, and I'll be trying to explain to them about over penetration and things like that, and
Hmm.
shots matter. Like where you put shots, it matters. Um, I had to did an interview with my homeboy Trek from MDFI. He said you need to buy a gun and carry a firearm that you have no excuses, not to carry it. Like when you buy a
Right.
firearm, if it's your first one, it should be no excuses why you shouldn't carry that gun. So if
Hmm.
that's how you look at it, like don't buy something that I can't because it's too wide, it's too this, too that. No, you want to buy a gun where there's no excuses possible. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I got a well, I like to say I got a M&P 4 1/4, and then I got a compact, and then I got a Glock 48. I kind of I love the Glock 48 just because the slim frame of it, but the capacity is still there. And it's
Hmm.
still like it's a Glock 19, barrel length, and the size. It's just slim. It's just we
Hmm.
big boys, so you know what I'm saying. So I got a little bit of cushion here, so I got to
Oh yeah.
had to get something slim, a little slim in there. So
Hmm.
but yeah, uh, my homeboy he's doing a review. He was supposed to jump on here. Arm Atlas. He's doing a review with the what is that? The is the Canic the Canic the new one they just dropped with the port on it. The Prime, the Canic Prime.
Okay. I haven't
And it's
seen that one yet.
ported at the top, and people, he get a review and people start talking about it. Well, you shouldn't have your EDC gun with ports on it because this and this blah 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 blah. But I don't
Hmm.
think I seen a YouTube video of a bad guy catching on fire or a person actually catching on fire or something bad
Right.
happening, opposed to getting gas in their face or whatever. But I guess if you're in
Hmm.
a life or death situation, does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? You
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
you fighting for your life at that point in time. So whatever happens gonna happen. If you can squeeze 3 or 4 off, it is what it is at that
Hmm.
point. So I don't
Right.
know. I just thought about that. I was like, I'm asking a guy to do ports on firearms. Is he pro
Hmm.
port or against
Yeah.
ports on his EDC? So I was just like, wow.
Right.
But
There's a lot of technology and stuff that goes into the porting. A lot of the porting jobs that I've seen from, stock from companies, they don't really think it out. They're hopping on the bandwagon right now. So if someone is looking into a ported gun from stock, you really ought to check it out. The Echelon I'm impressed with, and I haven't shot the Hellcat Pro ported one. I've got a buddy of mine sent his over to test out, but he liked that one. But everything else I've seen, they don't backbore it, or they backbore it too much and they screw it up. Like Smith and Wesson's new carry comp thing, I'm not a fan of that at all.
Let me,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I shot that. It was a little harsh. It's a little, it's a
it's
little.
what they did is they ported it and they did backbore, which is good because when you don't backbore something, the bullet goes through and it hits that sharp edge and it throws shrapnel out because it's peeling stuff off the bullet.
Did
So
you?
they backbored it.
Can you
Mhm.
show? Is that something you got? Something that you can? What you mean by
Yeah.
backboard? Show and
So
tell time,
this
buddies.
is the carry comp. We actually took a stock barrel from a normal. This is a Faxon barrel actually, and we ported it and backbored it. Um, what happens is we open up the barrel riflings and we cut them out just to the ported section. It's flipped on me, so I'm trying to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
see if I can get it the right way. Um, and so it's hard to see on the camera, but
It got that. It's
basically,
got that little groove in there. Is that?
yeah, there's kind of like a ring right around here, which
Uh-huh.
so we bore it back to that point so
Okay.
that all this ported section is just opened up, and so it's just free going through there. But if
Okay.
you open it up too much, then all that gas can actually go around the bullet, and it's
Okay.
still going straight out the barrel rather than going out the ports itself. And so what the carry comp did, they backboard it too much, and so basically, yeah, there's a hole in top, but all the gas is still going straight forward and just a little bit out the top. And so where our porting, it's still pretty tight. We just barely take out the rifling so that the bullet can freely move through there, but all the pressure is still coming out the ports. And so this is our enforcer style porting, where it's side ports only rather than top and sides, but they are angled up, and so it acts as both top and sides. And what actually happens, top porting reduces the muzzle rise, while side ports reduce the recoil impulse. And with a pistol, you're actually fighting the recoil impulse a lot more than you're fighting the muzzle rise. And the
Right.
muzzle rise is caused by recoil impulse a lot. So this is actually works better than our commander porting that is both top and sides.
So what port is that?
Um, this is this one is specifically for the carry comp. We
Okay.
actually cut out the windows there and ported the barrel a different way, so it doesn't have the top port like the carry comp slide has. But it's the same type of porting as our enforcer porting.
Mm. So they engineer something in that's so it doesn't work as designed
It
necessarily because you were saying because it's releasing gas around the bullet opposed to going straight up.
right,
It's so it's not performing as designed.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
They kind of screwed up by taking ideas from something which I know other companies, some other companies are doing backbores, but I know most of them aren't. So I'm not sure if they got that one from us or what exactly. But I know on their 10 millimeter, they did a backbore and it was tighter, but they just didn't put in large enough holes in the barrel to make it function right. So we've reported that one as well.
Well,
But
it's funny now that and I got a homeboy, ATEI, Dougify. He's been in the game probably 2030. He's been in the game a long time, right? He was
Mhm,
making guns for M&Ps for Costa, whatever his name is. He's making firearms for him, and he
mhm.
started like doing the serrations. I'll show you. I got my in YouTube. All these guns are safe. I can see he started doing. You can see the waves. Can you see the
Hmm.
waves? So he started
Yeah.
doing those. This is the M&P I got. So he started doing the
Hmm.
waves, and that's his is kind of all his firearms are like function first, ideal. Is
Right.
it's not they it look good. It's Gucci, but it's
Hmm.
it's more function first. And he said that too. He was like, a lot of these companies are doing stuff wrong because even though like I take my RMRs to him, and you got the firearms that come with the plates and this and that, and
Hmm.
they already pre MOS cuts and all that. But some of my guns I still take to him and have him fitted 100% like right in there, so he
Hmm.
can cut it for the size of that. And it's a little different once you get that tight fit on there because it's not gonna move or come out and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
much better to direct mount rather than using the plate systems because
yeah,
they're not great.
and the M&P came out with those plastic plates at the bottom or something like that, and then you
They're
got to
terrible. Yeah.
I bought a
I
competitor.
don't like them.
Hey, I got the competitor all metal, and then you're gonna put damn plastic plates in there, but the damn
Yeah.
gun is all
Oh
metal.
yeah.
But you gonna give me damn
Yeah.
plastic plates. So let me ask you this, and we
Hmm.
just, I was asking questions, and some of those, questions I had that were gonna be down there. Um, are you a more component of one port style than another, like side or top or whatever? Like, what's your preference?
Our enforcer porting is functioning better, and so I'm leaning more towards that these days. It's newer. We've only been doing that one for maybe close to 2 years now. And I'm actually updating the design to make instead of the three ports, it'll be two larger ports. And that has been, functioning in our testing a lot better than the original. So comparing that to our commander porting is going to be more noticeable with the enforcer being better. I don't like the ports that come all the way back down the barrel. A lot of companies they'll take and they'll, instead of moving the front sight back, they'll just port along the top um, and put a whole bunch of holes in it. Basically, what you're doing is the closer you are to the ejection port is you're going to be dumping powder before it has a chance to burn up. And so a lot of people ask why we don't do that. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do anything that I can't trust the reliability for myself to. And I don't trust those because you're basically making it, you're dumping powder. So you're making a light load by the time it exits the barrel rather than just normal ammo. And that's, I don't have a ton of facts, but that's my opinion on that, and that's why I don't trust that kind and I don't offer it. So our porting we keep at the nose, so it's got the best leverage point as far as keeping the barrel down, and it's 100% reliable. We haven't had any issues. I trust my life to it, and that's why I
So
trust it to my customers.
So you talking about like the one? So let me get back to them. So
Mhm.
you talking about like the ports at the top, the little dimples that's in the barrel that's closer to the ejection port. So you're not a component. You don't like those that
Right, where they
style.
got, multiple ports on the top in a big window, and they
Hmm.
get so close to the ejection port that you've got, maybe a half inch of rifling before you're actually venting out gas and powder. And then you're also dragging the bullet all the way through the rest of the barrel because you've lost all of your pressure behind it through those first couple ports. And then you're slowing that bullet down. And because you can't backbore that far, you're also kind of, peeling parts off of it and potentially ruining your accuracy.
Um.
A lot of people run those kind and haven't had issues, but I just don't trust them.
So what's this right here? Which one is this? The
That would
this
be the commander porting on a PDP.
PDP. That's
Yeah.
sexy. Um.
Mhm.
Yeah. Those are. How long did it take you to do this, man? Because the guy, what's his name? Constantine was like, man, this guy
Mhm.
bring their turnaround is their turnaround time is awesome, man. I ain't gonna say I get it
Oh,
back fast,
yeah.
but I get it back fast. I was like, oh, as soon as you say that, hey, that time gonna change because everybody gonna be sending them stuff, and
Right.
but
The custom side hasn't actually, been too crazy. It was super crazy back when all those stimulus checks were happening. We got really busy with custom work right then.
Hey, they
But
flooded the market with money. People was like,
I
I
know.
don't listen. I don't care about no damn tissue, no toilet paper.
Right, yeah.
I'm sending my gun to Floyd Custom because somebody might try to
Oh
come in
yeah.
here and steal my milk and my eggs, and I need to protect
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, so it's been, pretty consistent, but we usually get things through about 4 to 6 weeks. Coding adds a little bit of time. Right now, our DLC coder is kind of running 3 to 4 weeks just for coding, unfortunately. We're trying to figure out how to speed up that process. Cerakote's usually 1 to 2 weeks. So we do our best to try to get it back to you as fast as possible. Every once in a while, we'll get someone ask, like, hey, this is my carry gun or my duty gun. Like, is there any way I could get it back as soon as possible? I usually just tell them, just write that on the form. I'll rush it through if I can.
So
So,
let me ask you this: since y'all
mhm,
got a unique style, and like I said, my homeboy ATEI has his own unique style, and
mhm.
the aggressive lines, clean cut looks. What's the vibe or mission behind Floyd's Customs? Like where y'all get y'all like the vision from for these? Like what's that about?
I've been, designing different stuff. I did most of Lone Wolf Distributors, their older designs. I actually designed those for them, and we cut those for them for a number of years before we started doing our own thing. Just kind of for the M&P, once I kind of saw it, the, scalloped kind of fish scale serration things, I was like, I don't really like those. They just look kind of strange to me, and so I wanted to figure out how to work with them and reshape them in order to function better for, better grip, but then not completely change it to where it was like, well, this is just, ridiculous looking. I wanted it to flow well with the gun, and then, still add a lot of style to it while still being very functional. I didn't want to, sacrifice any of the functionality of it.
Like when I share some of them pictures and some of the stuff that Floyd, they be like, "Man, who is that? Who who made that? Where did that come
Right.
from?" Because people freak out guns, and Glocks are like the guns people most freak out. I mean, they
Hmm.
freak them out, Gucci and whatever. But when somebody see an
Right.
M&P freaked out, they like,
Hmm.
what is that thing? Like, it's already, M&P, maybe it's more aggressive look, the way the M&Ps are designed or whatever. But when you freak
Hmm.
one out, and even with the commander and all that, they be like, where you get that from? Where is that, Kev? Boo, boo, boo. I just shared a photo. I was just like,
Hmm.
sooner or later, I'm gonna get one done up. But I was just like, man, they be like, hey man, hey, that boy nice, this, and this. And I'm like, because I'm an M&P guy, so I like to share and show the photos. But I guess everybody got their vibe and their own style. And I like y'all got some aggressive, looking, firearms. And
Hmm.
but they also functional, but like I said, that comes from the background of being a shooter to know what you need,
Right.
what you don't need, what works or what don't works. Because like now, even what most guns come with the MOS cuts, and we talked about that. Like when you how important or like how detailed do y'all get down into the nitty gritty to make sure those do y'all test those cuts first after you send them out to make sure they hold zero? Or because it could be the slightest left or right could mess a whole cut up. You know what I'm saying? When it
Hmm.
comes to like MOS cuts or cuts for like RMRs or the footprint. Like, do y'all test those
Right.
out to see if are they exactly where they need to be?
We make sure they're within the tolerances that the Optic companies give us, because you can contact, Trigicon, Holosun, Leopold, all those places, and say, hey, I'm making the cuts for these optics. What are your tolerances on your optics so I can make sure I stay in that. And so we have those optic tolerances, and we have optics that we check each slide with to make sure that they are gonna fit right. I've had maybe one out of probably 10,000 slides that have come back where the optic didn't quite fit right, and it was the optic itself was out of tolerance. Um, I've never had any screws break because of, actual function wise. It's been, people torquing too tight, or the screw itself had a weakness in it and it snapped just under normal torque specs. But I've had so many guns come in with optic ready systems that I've had to extract screws out of because they didn't hold up with the plate systems and the optic went flying. So it's kind of one of those things. I don't trust plate systems. There are good companies making proper plates for them, but these stock plates have never held up in that I've seen. But yeah, when we cut for an optic, we try to keep as good a tolerances as we can to keep with the actual manufacturer specs.
My home, and this kind of this on topic, but it's off topic. But I got a dude that makes my homeboy is AMMJ. Um he makes rails for like the well he makes rails and other parts. He was look. Have you seen that Glock with the aim point?
Hmm.
The aim. Have you seen the way them screws and the bracket? He was breaking that down like that was the worst design ever for Glock to do. Like the way them
Yeah.
screws sit in there. He's like, man, it's putting pressure. He was saying it's putting pressure on the screws in the mouth. He said, I don't know how long that thing's gonna hold up. And I was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
he nerded out on me on that. And I was just like, okay, so you saying it's good or is it bad? What are you telling me? I don't know how
Right.
the clock work. I can tell time. So let me know, is this a good thing
Right.
or a bad thing? So I don't know if you looked at it and digged into it like, oh, is this? I don't know if this thing is the best design they could have came up with
I
for
haven't
that
looked at
Glock.
it in detail that much, but I know I was trying to figure out what the heck they were doing because it didn't make any sense. But I'm interested to see how well they hold up because that's for Glock putting that on there. I'm kind of surprised, but I've seen some of the bigger companies, do some dumb stuff and not care. So it's kind of, I don't
Hey,
get it, but
everybody, a lot of the companies trying to get into that, not letting the customer or the guy,
mhm,
take his stuff to the third party or aftermarket party,
yep,
and get that money. They want the money. They don't want you
yep,
to take it in. They want you to get it out the box and the thing be ready. But that's never. People's always customization matters. Like people customize their gun because they want to custom. Just like cars and
yeah,
everything else. People customize their
right,
cars. Just because the Hellcat come off the assembly line 800 horses, somebody's still gonna throw a damn supercharger on there because they want 1,200 horses. You know what I'm saying?
oh
So
yeah,
I,
oh yeah,
I, I never understood. Well, this is the best. Look at this. It's ported, cut, and this and this. But okay, I'm still gonna customize it because I don't like this
right,
or I don't like that. But how do
right.
y'all balance the performance with the style, or is just everything is like how do y'all balance that? Like okay, you got the ports, you got this, but how do you get that balance of okay, this look good,
Mhm.
this don't, but this is functional, but that's ugly. Like how do y'all balance that?
Let's start with the function because that's the most important part. It's got to actually function as designed. Like our Magwells, we have it to where it's a seamless transition from the Magwell itself to the frame. And that's very important because if you have a big step in there, that can hold up your mag change. And so that's got to be the number one aspect. It's got to be functional. And then after that, I'm like, all right, well, I got to make it look good. Otherwise, no one's going to want to stick it on their gun. So, same thing with, the slide designs and porting and everything. It's like, all right, well, what works good? I work on that. I get that figured out. And then I, tweak it in order to make it look good. Like our first, the enforcer porting started with the competitor slide because it came out and it had those big windows in on the sides. I'm like, all right, well, there's not a good spot to port it, and so we ended up porting in those windows. I'm like, all right, so if I angle it up and do that, and I figured it out how to make it work really well. And we also tried porting in those slots that came across the top of the slide too. And because of the location and everything, that didn't work as well trying to do the side ports with those slots. And so we ended up going with the porting, tweaking it enough to where it started functioning really well. And that's how the competitor porting kicked off and then turned into the enforcer porting for the other models. So, the first on the competitor, they were all round because the windows on there were round. And once we went to the other M&Ps and the other stuff, we're like, well, it doesn't need to be round anymore because that just doesn't look good when it's a nice big window on the side. And so I was able to shape them in order to be kind of squared and got, more design to them and more look to them. And I'm like, all right, well, the function's still there, and now it looks a lot better, and it's something that I would run. So that's when it came out that it was ready to release.
Let me you know, yeah. Hey, I'll shoot that. Let me keep this. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all on a y'all on a business that make guns cool. So it's like, how many? Okay, let me ask you this: do you just buy stuff to say, look, hey, are we gonna test this out? But I'm really thinking I'm gonna keep this. Like this looks sexy. Like how much stuff
Yeah.
have we not seen? That's what I really want to know. How much stuff do y'all keep in
Uh,
secret that you have not shown because you like, nah, this is a one off. This is just my stuff. This is my gun. That's what I want
right.
to
Not
know.
too much, actually. We got, a few things in here that we haven't really done much on yet, but the majority of it, like once I figure it out, I'm like, all right, let's see if people are interested. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, and sometimes things just kind of collect dust and go on the back burner. But for the most part, if it's something I like, it's something I'm going to work on and I'm going to, share it. If it's something I don't like, then usually it just sits around.
Well, because I know you were talking about the do you have the Hellcat or is it the
Mhm.
Echelon that y'all was working on? Do you have Echelon?
uh, Both of them, yeah. We got so the Echelon, the original. Um, I think it's on a
Because I know
Sharps Bros frame right now.
my buddy just bought shoot, he bought an Echelon, then all of a sudden, so
Hmm.
he bought an Echelon, and I was like, man, whatever. So it's like, okay, who make Echelon, whatever. Like, okay, so
Hmm.
I know this thing ain't gonna work well, right? So when I shot it, I was like, oh, I'm a little impressed by this gun. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? The Echelon. I was it Springfield or whatever they make it. So
Hmm.
I have never shot a Springfield that was worth of any damn whatever. Go to class, you see a lot of stuff break down. It's always Glocks
Hmm.
M&Ps that's just monstering through. Everything else is just like mat. So I seen it and I was just like, man. And I shot it. I was like, this is a nice gun. For what
Yeah.
it was, the price range, how much it cost and everything. I thought it was an awesome gun. But yeah, go ahead, show what you got.
Yeah. So this original Echelon is the Sharps Bros frame on it right now, but it's a very nice gun. The stock frame, I think I've got
Now
got
all
the
these
ported
guns are
module with
clear,
the stock frame
YouTube.
right now.
So all these
Yep,
guns are
all of them
clear.
clear.
Clear
You
clear
can
YouTube. So don't trip on us. We clear.
right.
We safe.
So when it came out, we were very impressed with it because it did function very, very well. I'd never really liked anything from Springfield except for the Hellcat Pro, and a buddy of ours, 360 Tactical, is what got me onto the Hellcat Pro because he was a big fan of that, and he asked me like 3 or 4 times to port it for him before I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And then I picked one up. I was like, all right, it's actually pretty nice for a small gun. But the Echelon, I think they really designed it after a lot of the aspects of the Hellcat Pro because I've never been a big fan of what are they, the XDs and stuff like that. I just never really liked them. But the Echelon, feels it's got a really nice grip to it. The slide they made is, a very nice slide on its own. And then we, of course, did some customization to it, reshaped the serrations, did our porting on it and everything else. The Optic ready system on that is absolutely fantastic. I haven't seen any optic ready system that actually holds the optic tight and is quality other than what they did. Theirs is a pin system, but the pin rocks back and tightens down on the optic as you tighten it down. And so it holds the optic solid. It does have a gap front and back depending on your optic, which I don't like. That's the only drawback. But other than that, like it's an actual solid system to where I would trust shooting it. Um,
Yeah, I was trying to find out if is this did y'all have it on your Instagram? Did you post that one on your
mhm.
Instagram? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
we've
was.
posted it quite a few times. This is the compact Echelon. We were actually lucky enough that they contacted us and sent us one early, and so we got it a few days before they released it, and we already had it all ported and customized by the time they released it.
Oh, so you got the so this one is the let's see. This one is the this is the Hellcat that y'all did.
Yep, that's the Hellcat Pro. So that
That's
I just finished the design last week and did the custom design. We've been porting those for a couple years now, though. So that incorporates with our newer enforcer porting on that one. Then we have our Magwell and our +5 extension on the bottom.
okay. Yeah, I was trying to see if well, so I'm scrolling through to see if I seen
Hmm.
that was a Hellcat, and then the
Yep.
Echelon. It's probably in here somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
That
it's probably been a little bit since we've posted anything with the Echelon, but that one, this is the Hellcat Pro there.
okay. Yeah, that's oh, that was okay. Now what you
Yeah,
let
it's
me
the one
ask
you
you
just
this.
showed in the video. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What you think about no sights?
I don't
Cuz
like it. The only reason I don't have sights on this one is because I just machined it, and so I didn't put them back on yet, and I'm
cuz
gonna
look,
probably send it off to get refinished.
like so when I got this one,
Hmm.
right? I bought it.
Hmm.
It ain't got no front or rear sights,
Right.
but it got an armor on there. So I was just like, do
Right.
I need sights? I don't know. I'm just put it in the window.
I,
Let's see what happens, right?
right. I'd say
So
if it's a competition gun, you're okay, but if it goes down, then you're out of the game. So, but if it
it's
goes
gonna be
down
a
while you're
lot of
carrying it,
blasting going on.
then yeah. So I always do backup sites on my stuff no matter what. And usually when people send something in and say they don't want any backup sites, I call them up and be like, all right, so what are you using this for? Because if it's
Hey,
carry gun, I would very much reconsider and say you should put some sights on it.
so what you think about people when they call in or they send stuff in? They be like, "Look, I want a little bit of tactical, but I want a little bit of race." And it's like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you say? Like, okay, do you want this? To me, any you have hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Whatever's gonna give you an advantage, regardless of what it is. If it's
Right.
reloading, if it's putting shots on target when they need to go, that's the most important thing. Follow up shots.
Hmm.
So I don't necessarily, think about one being better than the other. I just think, hey, make this gun functional. I might say, okay, well, make it Gucci. What does that mean? But I'm basically
Hmm.
saying, make it functional, make it fast, make it, you know, give me a cheat code. Give me that, cheat
Right.
code. But I know people say, well, do they call say, well, make it a little tactical and make it a little fast. I'm like,
Hmm.
what do you say about that when they call? Like, okay, well, I want this, this, and this. You're like, well, is this a race gun or is this something you
Hmm.
carry every day? Because
Right.
sometimes you start doing too much of them triggers and it to me they get a look like you can really take a my homeboy got a staccato and I
Hmm.
promise you that trigger feels like it's 2 pounds or whatever. It's super light. You blow on it. I'm just like, man, like for my carry gun, I don't want to trigger that light. Um,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because I just don't want it. But some people are, they full go, full go. But like, how do you talk to how you talk a customer down off the ledge when it comes to like you doing too much? Let's just do this, or it don't even matter. They send it in and say, hey Jeff, do your thing, bro. Like,
Hmm.
how do y'all balance that?
I mean, for, tactical versus race, I'd say, why is there a difference? Because if it's something, you can shoot fast with, is at least as far as the way I do stuff, it's also tactical. As far as, triggers and stuff, that's where, okay, you can go too far, as in if you're, you know, having an EDC and you're not used to a 2 pound trigger, then you should not be carrying with a 2 pound trigger. Some people are very used to that. I carry with, I think it's about 5 pounds probably on my trigger because, I do want it a little bit heavier. I'm very, since I was a young kid, instilled of you don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to shoot. But, in an intense situation, you could put your finger on the trigger early and you jerk and it's going to pull if it's too light.
Well,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so
They created the
triggers is
word. It's
where,
called it's called ND for a reason. People do it. They
right.
just say just
Oh
something they
yeah.
just made up.
Yep.
But go ahead.
So
I'm sorry.
we don't do many trigger jobs. Right now with all the ATF rules and stuff, we've made it to where you got to send in a full firearm through an FFL just so that we're covered, they're covered, and it's okay across the board. Not many people want to, spend the extra money to send it through an FFL, deal with all the transfers and everything. So people that do come out in person will do trigger jobs. I'll ask them, what kind of trigger, what poundage on an Apex and stuff, and they'll usually just ask, well, what would you recommend? And so I usually do 5 pounds for a carry gun. And if it's a competition gun of someone that has been shooting for a while, they usually know what they want and they will tell you, 2 pound trigger. So,
It,
but yeah.
because even with the M&Ps, because I guess I was like, okay, Floyd Custom is like the M&P guru, because or
Mhm.
customization. Because you said you did Glocks and then you went into M&Ps. Why was it like that shift over? Like, look, we're gonna start working on M&Ps opposed to like doing some Glock stuff, Glock work.
So I mean, Glock was the first polymer frame, and they had the patent on that for forever. And so back when I started shooting IDPA and stuff, that was the good battle ready gun. So, just kind of sticking with that for so long. And then when the M&P, 1.0 came out, we never really looked at it much. Once the M&P 2.0 came out, just grabbing it in your hand, it pointed so much better. Even shooting all the time and practicing all the time with my Glock, it was still pointing up if I'm not, focusing and ready to go. Where the M&P swatch out the back straps, and then you can make it to where you pull it up and it points and functions how you want it to. The Glock, the grip, it felt fine back when I was shooting it all the time. Now when I pick up a Glock, it feels like a bar of soap. It doesn't feel right in my hands.
What?
um,
Yeah. The only thing I would say about I wish, well, and that's why I like the polymer frame M&Ps opposed to
mhm,
the metal. The only thing I
mhm,
did with those just do the undercut, and I wasn't a component of the roundness of the trigger guard on M&Ps. I like more of the flat.
mhm,
It's just when you connect it with your hands, you get up there and you got that undercut and that groove. Once you get that good hand placement, you've been doing it so much, it's like, okay,
mhm.
this is a match made in heaven. And that's
Right.
other than that, like M&Ps is perfect.
Oh
Every
yeah.
M&P polymer I get is usually undercut just to get that, just to get that smooth flatness on there.
Right.
But I was like, yo, they like the M&P Whisper. Like all their guns is sweet ass M&Ps.
Oh
Do
yeah.
y'all get do y'all get audited a lot? The ATF is like come knock on your door randomly,
No,
like.
we don't really sell guns. Like we do every once in a while. We have our FFL, but we don't sell guns a whole lot. We did get audited late last year as they were cracking down on everything. It was, I think, someone else got audited for something, and then we were on their books as a transfer, and so it just kind of trickled down and got to us. We also had a call. ATF called us about a gun that we had transferred to someone that had been found somewhere. And so I'm not sure what exactly happened with that situation, but since it was transferred from our books, that's who they called to figure out, okay, what is your latest information on this? Our ATF reps have been pretty good for the most part. They're very knowledgeable and helpful. So we're lucky in our area that they weren't as anti-gun as they are, have been recently. Hopefully that's changing a lot more now. But back when we were audited, it was very like we had, the street address was street instead of road or something like that, and we got dinged for that and dinged for this, and it was like, are you serious? Like, and then certain things that they never taught us but are apparently rules now. And so it was like, okay, well, when we went through the class and you told us how to do it, we're doing it the way you told us how, but why weren't we told that that was changed?
Oh,
And
they haven't
so
done that
yeah.
before. They haven't done
Yeah.
that before, right? That's
Right.
never
Yeah. So it's
happened.
like, okay. So, but for the most part,
Yeah. It seems like now it's something going on because you can walk in the store, fill out your suppressor paperwork. The moment you walk
mhm,
out, the suppressor is approved. You're like, wait a minute, what?
mhm. Yeah.
Like you getting your
Right.
suppressor back in 48 hours before it was freaking 5 months. Be like, oh,
Yeah.
they trying to play nice, so
Yeah.
they trying to keep their jobs and play nice.
Yeah. Yep.
So what other things y'all got going there that y'all working on now? I know you said you got the Hellcat,
Mhm.
and you got the Echelon. It's like so more people been pushing more. You've been doing a lot of work on Hellcats now.
Yeah, probably the most customization stuff has been people sending in their Hellcat Pros to get ported. Our, M&P is still probably our largest seller as far as the M&P compact Magwells, plus sixes and plus twos. The metal frame EDC Magwell has been pretty popular. Then, the Hellcat and the Echelon are very popular. Our other stuff is kind of, it still sells, but it's not the big sellers. So those are probably the three biggest is M&P, Echelon, and the Hellcat Pro. Our Glock stuff, there's just so many people making Glock stuff that, we recently picked it back up a couple years ago just to kind of, see how it went. And, I think I have one of the nicest magwells out there, but they just don't sell that well. So
Well,
there's just so many other Glock things out there.
I mean, it may apply, but they say the riches is in the niches. So I guess y'all
Hmm.
niche was like M&Ps, and
Oh yeah,
y'all definitely make some sexy M&Ps when it comes to
yeah.
that.
That's what we're known for.
What about, and this is just what about doing 2011, 2023? Because that seems like that's the new craze now. You can't every 2011 now is either you got a 5 inch and you got a 4 1/4. Now they're ported.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
now it seems like you had Staccato that took over the market 3 4 years ago. Now everybody making 2011. Now you got
Hmm.
2311s, and
Hmm.
are y'all think y'all gonna get into that world, porting those or customizing those?
I'm not sure. It's been something people have asked us before, and their thing we like about the M&Ps is it's a great gun out of the box. It's affordable, and anyone can run it. Anyone can run our parts. Anyone can customize it. Where you get into the 2011s, it's such an expensive gun right out the bat, and then you're this and that. And I haven't messed with the 2011s too much, but the 1911s, it's just like, all right, you start messing with porting and stuff, and as soon as they get dirty, they start jamming up, and so it's like, all right, so the reliability just isn't there as much as I'd like. And so with the 2011s, I'm not as familiar with them, but if it's something there that it's requested enough, we might get into it. I just had one of our YouTube reviewers ask about the 2011. He's getting a Staccato compact or something like that, and he was wanting me to make a Magwell, and I'm like, well, I'll think about it, but I'm not sure.
What so when a customer call you and they say, okay, so I had a and maybe you can help me with this. I got
Hmm.
my and it's funny you said because I got a I got a staccato P. I'm sorry, and I'm
Hmm.
like, man, I spent so much. I'm so scared to send this gun out and it come back effed
Right.
up, and I'll
Oh
be
yeah.
pissed, right?
Yeah.
So and like I want to send my guns out, but I'll be scared and nervous because I heard some horror stories.
Oh yeah.
But not with y'all, not about y'all, but
Hmm.
I went and got my competitor porter at Magnaport. Magnaport has been around for like 100 years. They are here in
Hmm.
Michigan. So I went and got it ported, and I was having some issues with ejection. It was like it was
Hmm.
stove piping and things like that. But at the I think when I first got it was issuing, I run in like regular ammo in it, like 115s, no like hot rounds. But now it seems
Hmm.
like it's a little bit better. When people call and y'all do work, do y'all like, man, my gun not working right, it's not cycling right. Like, well, how do you
Hmm.
answer that? Like, how do you help them work through that? Because sometimes if you tweak a gun, like once you start tweaking and getting into ports and all this stuff, sometimes that can throw off the timing. Like, you may have to,
Hmm.
go up or down on a spring or something like that. Like, how do you help your customers like deal with those issues? Or
So
is a big ammo issue? Like, oh, just run some hot rounds through it or something.
it's usually not that. The number one thing is people get it back and forget to oil it. And so, because the
I
way
could
we
have did
pour it,
that
we
too.
make sure, yeah, the way we pour it, we make sure that it is reliable and it is functional. So it's very rare that we ever have an actual issue. Up until a couple weeks ago, we'd never had any barrel issues. And then we had two barrels recently that they had accuracy issues once they had it back. So, we had them send it back in. We checked it out. Yeah, it's got accuracy issues. We tried, checking out the bore and everything to figure out, what could be. Um, One of them, the actual rifling itself was out of center. And so once we did our back bore, I think what happened was when they originally drilled out the barrel and rifled it, the actual drill flexed a little bit and then came back. And so the center of the barrel was opened up a little bit larger than the back of the barrel and the nose of the barrel. So once we backbored the nose out, it got to that open point, and so that screwed the accuracy up. We ended up, warranting everything for him, even though it wasn't our fault. But you can't guarantee that a stock barrel is going to work perfect. So we try to give our customers the benefit of the doubt and do everything we can to make it right for them, because obviously they're putting the money in, they want it to be right. And I've heard those horror stories of a lot of companies that they do something and then they don't care and they've got no customer support and no, let's make this right. And then for 2011s, that's a big expense. If I screw something up, that's a big gun to have to replace for a customer. So, but as far as, trying to troubleshoot with customers, if you call in and you hit two to go to the shop, you're going to get me. And I'm going to do everything I can to try to help figure out what the issue is you're having and make it work right. 90% of the time, it's someone didn't watch the install video and they messed around and screwed up the install, or they just haven't, thought
Limp
about, oh yeah,
wrist.
I got to oil my gun. Yeah. So different stuff like that. But, um, you know, each situation is different as far as customers that are very, very knowledgeable and some customers that are new to it. And I try to do my best to help those new customers, because a lot of times they don't understand different things or they don't realize things. So,
Yo, what's one of them questions you get from a customer and you be like, what? Like, what's some of the stuff weird? What's a weird question? You gotta give me something. Somebody asked you something. You like, what? What did you do?
there's,
What?
yeah, we had one way back when they wanted their gun to whistle. So when they shot it, they wanted to make it so that instead of a bang sound, it sounded like a big whistle.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, how? What are you wanting here? Why are you
You
wanting
should
it to
you should have
whistle?
said this not Duck Dynasty. What are you talking about? You wanted to whistle?
Yeah,
You want to call in ducks? What are you
yeah.
gonna go duck hunting?
So that's probably one of the strangest ones. But a lot of the times, like as far as, issues that customers call in with, one guy had his mag extensions on backwards and was,
Hey,
wondering
I
why
see
it didn't
somebody
work.
come. Somebody came to the gun store. They had their LPV on backwards. He's like, man, this thing ain't working. It's, I can't keep seeing small targets. And me and my guy
Yeah.
just looked at each other like, we're not even gonna tell him. Matter of fact, I was in the gun store the other day. I was helping this lady, and she had to
Hmm.
save your headphones, right? And she's
Hmm.
like, "What's the difference between this shit is funny. I can't make this up." She said, "What's the difference between these headphones and then these?" And then I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "That box right there." She went and grabbed a D60 box and said, "These headphones." I was like, "Ma'am, this is a D60. This is this thing hold bullets. This is not headphones. Like, what are you like?" It was a she came and brought me a Magpool D60 box. She
Wow.
thought they were headphones. I was like, "Hey man, you can't make this shit up, bro. You can't."
Jeez.
Yeah. And this just was just the other day, man. I was like, "Man,
Hmm.
you can't make it up." But I'm glad that
Yeah.
you customer service is helping the customer, because when somebody buys something especially when it's something like this and you send it out and it comes back and it's messed up, you immediately pissed off. You immediately want to
Oh
go
yeah.
to the vlogs. You really want to go to the reviews and just crash on them, opposed to just calling. Let's say, okay, let's work this out. Well, maybe you put your Magwell on backwards or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
customer service, I think, is you don't want to hit one and hit two, and then you be on the phone for 30, 40 minutes, an hour, and you can't
Hmm.
get the answer you want. And that's probably
Right.
why you got a lot of repeat customers. Because look,
Oh
I
yeah.
can call Floyd Custom, and I'm gonna talk to Jeffrey. I'm gonna talk to Floyd. We gonna get this stuff resolved, and I think
Hmm.
that's a big ups to y'all, man.
Oh yeah.
Especially in that world where customers want it right now, fast and in a hurry, and they want it
Hmm.
right. I want it
Oh
fast. I
yeah.
want it back, and I want it right. I pay good money. Okay,
Right.
I can't. I got to do it in the time period that I need to do it to make sure it's durable and make sure everything works right and all that. Another question: how do y'all stay above the curve when it comes to new stuff, or being inventive, or the evolution of guns, triggers, all that? How do y'all stay above the curve? Like, okay, like y'all look forward opposed to looking back. Like, we're gonna try some old stuff, or we
Mhm.
gonna do some of this new stuff.
I mean, just kind of checking out, seeing what new is out there, what people's opinion of it is. The Smith and Wesson stuff, like the FPC that came out, we got pretty excited for that. I made a Magwell for it. I made, different stocks and different stuff like that. And it never really took off. So it was kind of one of those things where, the hype was there for a minute and then it died down real fast. So there's every once in a while we'll get those where we start making stuff and then they're not super popular, but we keep track of what's popular and what's not, and mainly if I like it, I'm gonna build something for it. So if once I get my hands on it, then I start playing with it a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, I'll make a magwell for this. I'll make some extensions because I like this and it's something I'd want to use.
So
And
is that how you
so
started out? Like, okay, we're gonna make Magwell extensions for it, and then we're gonna see if
mhm.
it's pop. So once it pop, we know
Yeah,
people and customers like it. So we're gonna start freaking this
yeah.
thing out. Is that
Oh yeah.
kind of like the way it goes?
Pretty much. It's kind of like the SIG 320 came in and we made some extensions for that. We were playing with it and we just found that we really didn't like it. And so I
Is that
dropped
is that it
that
right
and
here? Oh,
I think is that a 226? I didn't actually do anything on that one. I think
okay.
the last couple photos when he collabed me in that one, I was like, I didn't do nothing to that. I don't know why
Oh,
that's on there. But so I think the last two or three photos is one of our M&Ps we customized on that one. But
he was like,
my dad,
damn, they gave me some props for something I didn't even do.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. My dad just recently got the new SIG 226, and he's a big fan of it. He's wanting me to make some stuff for it, but I'm not sure yet. He often gets
Please,
some very,
please not the 320. Please not the P320. No, no more. No.
no, no more for the 320. I don't like it. So the
Yeah.
226, he said a lot of people are liking the 226. I'm not sure about it yet. He often gets, something in, he gets real hyper for it, shoots it for a couple months, then it goes back in the safe and he forgets about it. So we'll see if it lasts.
I had a guy coming in and he was looking for a P2. He was looking for the P226 at the
Hmm.
store, and I had to go. I was like, the P226. I had to look it up on my phone real sneak, like, okay, I think it's over here. And I'm like, oh, that's what it looked like. I
Hmm.
So he was like, hey man, this guy told me this is the best gun out there, and I wouldn't be, this is the first and last gun you will ever buy. I said, okay, I don't know.
Hmm.
You know, that's
It's a
don't.
very heavy gun. So what is he
I
using
was
it for? Is
I was
first
like,
thing
what you
I'd
gonna use it
ask.
for? He was like, home
Yeah.
and this and this. I was like, I was like, don't trust somebody else's opinion about a firearm unless you go out here and shoot it and run it. And if you
Yeah.
like it, it's cool. But don't just take somebody else's word for it because they got it.
Oh yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
And like I said, the gun range I go to, shout out to Uncoiled, they got a hella selection of rentals. So you can shoot everything
Hmm.
from a Glock to a Staccato to a XC to a Hellcat to a P226 to a
Hmm.
FN 509. They got all kind of stuff in there to shoot. So you can really go in there and do something and shoot a lot of different things. So how has the like when y'all started off, how have the community like been and I'm talking about like I'm gonna say I'm a podcaster and our YouTubers,
Hmm.
the social media world been, because I seen my man running your stuff, and he Constantine, and my
Hmm.
homeboy, my little young homie put me on him. He's a competition shooter, and he was shooting the hell out of that thing. Like, how has that
Hmm.
been? Like, when you see somebody running your stuff and talking about it, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it feels great. I haven't seen any bad reviews of our stuff out there. I think most people are very happy with our stuff, and our, our business has grown basically by word of mouth. We never do any advertising or anything like that. We've done some, sent out stuff for
Absolutely
review on
insane. I
different
can feel it. I hope you guys
YouTube
can see it because I
videos and
can
stuff.
definitely feel it in the gun. The dot is barely moving in the
It's
window.
not gonna
Now we
play. You
have
can
the
keep
enforcer
going. I was
porting
just,
with just
I
the
Oh,
was
yeah, I
just
sight
can
showing
switch.
them.
hear the audio. So,
Oh, you can?
anyway, yeah, I can hear the audio in it. I didn't know if you were wanting to have the
No,
audio
I was
breaking
just
up.
showing them.
I
I can't hear
know
the
Oh, yeah.
audio
on
either,
this
but I
channel
was
I
just
said that
like I
I don't.
said,
Okay.
showing them just the guy that was running the hell out y'all guns.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
he
yeah,
he loved it. So it was good to see him running it. I think our first reviewer for our porting was
This is actually my first
Brazuca
time shooting with the
Arms.
Steiner MPS.
He did an
Another great
awesome
enclosed option, acro flip
review
clamp.
video for us on our original
Let's see what it
command
does.
reporting, and I sent him out the enforcer reporting to do a side by side, but he unfortunately hasn't been able to get the
Even
video out
flatter.
yet because he
Even flatter.
has a different
196.
job and
I had a
stuff
little
now, so he
hesitation on
hasn't
my
done the
first
YouTube
shot,
for
but
a while.
wow.
hey man, hey, I'm here, brother. I'm here for you. We here for you.
Cool. Oh yeah,
I'm here for you.
yeah. Send
I,
out
I
your slides, man. Let's do it.
I'm here for you. I got some young homies, man, that's making their way
Hmm.
up the competition world, and my good buddy, instructor from DMI Performance. We was shooting IDPA
Hmm.
today. He the one actually that got me into M&Ps and all that world and all that jazz. So I wouldn't even be into M&Ps if it wasn't for him. And then I went down that straight down. M&P this,
Oh yeah.
5-inch, 4 1/4 compact, da 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 da
Hmm.
da. But I just seen him, and he, like I said, he was running the hell out of that gun. He was like, "Yeah, I think I need to send my stuff to Floyd Custom Works." But I know, if you see people running your stuff, and
Hmm.
he's like I said, he's a big face, a big name. That gotta be like, man, we on the right track. We doing the right stuff. We showing
Hmm.
the world that what we can do. I mean, because sometimes small companies don't get seen, but I'm
Hmm.
glad that the 2A world, 2A space, and people that like to be different and do different stuff. Like, hey, we about to mess with Floyd Custom Work. Hey, but do you get tired of be like, hey man, can we get this for free? Because we got this, and this, or it's like,
Yeah,
I say
it's
that and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna send you my slides. Like,
right.
send me some stuff.
No, it's for the most part, I try to check out people. I'll get some that, hey, I'm a YouTuber, this and that, trying to get stuff for free. And most of them are, I'll check out their channel, kind of see what their content is like, because we're a Christian family business. We want to have our values reflected. If it's someone that's just blasting curse words and stuff like that, and it's just somebody that, we don't want that to be the face of someone coming to our company and that being their first experience, because they might have a great review, and there's a lot of people that have that personality or talk that buy our stuff, and that's great. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I'm just saying our values, we want to make sure they're reflected in a YouTuber. And then there's some company or some YouTube channels that are very low subscribers, and we're totally happy to help those guys out as long as they're knowledgeable and they are putting out good content. They're safe with their weapons. They're you know have good gun handling skills and good knowledge, that they're actually trying to put in the work and make a good video. And then there's
So,
some that are just trying to get free stuff, and it's like, come on, man.
well, I'm trying to be transparent.
Hmm.
I'm finding out this and I tell my young little homie this, and it's hard to. I say, listen, don't overstep or don't ask for something that you can't put out. If
Hmm.
you ask for like to get this and do this for a company, and then you get overwhelmed with this amount of stuff you're doing, it just Like, don't
Mhm.
do it. If you can't do it easy and have fun doing it and show this, don't get into where you feel like you got to put something out because they gave it to you for free. Like, don't ask
Right.
for a lot and then you get it. Like, you ask
Mhm.
for it, you ask the man
Right.
upstairs for it, you get it. Don't be like,
Mhm.
oh, this too much, because then it's like, well, they didn't do this for you, and you don't want to get that name out there. So, I
Mhm.
just tell them, like, slow down, just figure out what you want to do. Don't bite off too much, because
Oh yeah.
life is life. You still got to go to work, still got to do this. It just so happens I shoot M&Ps, right? I
Mhm.
shoot M&Ps, so I always got an M&P in my hand. So that's kind of like easy work. But
Right.
I know, you get some guys that you looking at, they haven't posted nothing of your gun, but they might have been posting a whole bunch of other stuff or other company stuff they got. You like, well, hey man, I sent you this out 4 months ago or five
Right.
months ago.
Right.
I ain't seen nothing. Oh, well,
Yeah.
I had to do this, and this. So, I mean, I guess that's part of the game too, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And I try, the one thing with the channel and the podcast, we try to educate the uneducated, train and give game to the people that need it. And one thing I
Mhm.
try not to do is be like the guy that want the latest gun to review, or the latest this to do that, just because this is popping. One, I can't buy the gun. First of all,
Mhm.
I got my own habits, and I got to, I like to shoot. I like to train. I like to go shoot
Mhm.
competition with the homies and to have fun, family, kids, all that good jazz. So I try not to just buy stuff or get stuff just to review, say this is the latest or this is what. All the stuff I got is tried and true. I don't jump around a lot of different red dots and all that. One, because I can't afford them. But if you
Mhm.
you know send me something, I was like, okay, I'll put it on there and run it. But it got to be something I believe in, right? Like,
Right.
Floyd Custom Work, I believe in it because I got the base plates and all that, and I've been seeing what y'all doing for years. So I got an M&P. Y'all freaking out M&Ps, so that's a no brainer. But I try not to get into
Mhm.
a lot of that. I just like, hey, if you ask me about some firearms, I'm gonna give you 3 of them. You ask me which ones I carry, I'm gonna give you those, and I'm gonna say why,
Mhm.
because I know they work. I didn't put thousands of rounds through them. I didn't shot them in rain, sleet, and snow, and these jokers work. So just you could take my word for it or not. People are gonna buy what they're gonna buy, but I try to just
Right.
show and give people the stuff that I will use, and show that off, not to just be like somebody sent me something now I got to show off and lie to a customer or lie to my audience and say, oh,
Mhm.
this is the dopest thing out there, knowing damn well I don't even carry it or even use it.
Right.
So that's kind of my my little spiel. Sorry, audience, it got kind of off topic there. But um how how important is that background of being, because you said you're a Christian company, how important is that,
Mhm.
like, throughout everything y'all do? Because that's like the second time you mentioned it in here. So I was
Mhm.
just like, is that something like that pops in the family, instilled in y'all as young kids, to be true to that, to stay with that, always look, for the man upstairs to help out, take your problems to him and all that? Is
Mhm.
that something they've been instilling y'all from birth?
Um, my family's, ever since I can remember, at least we've always gone to church and stuff. My parents, it was always growing up in a Baptist church, which is very kind of, um, I think our pastor was non-denominational, so it's a little bit different than the traditional Baptist. But Baptists are a little bit more doom and gloom kind of, sometimes. Where my church now, me and my wife go to is I think it's Pentecostal, which also has like a very different,
You
connotation.
had to think about it.
So
That took too long. This is Sunday. You forgot your name of your church. I ain't
yeah.
gonna say nothing. But go ahead.
No. So as far as my beliefs, I believe in, all things that I do, I should reflect, Jesus and everything. And so whether it's putting a gun together for someone, whether it's, customizing something or making a product, I feel like I should be able to stand behind it and that it should honor God as, something that he would be proud of me for doing.
Mm,
Um, you
got a
know,
little holy. All these guns got a little Holy Ghost on them, y'all. They
oh
got a
yeah.
little Holy Ghost. These guns.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny. These guns
So
got a little Holy Ghost on them, y'all. Got a little Holy
yeah.
Ghost.
So we've got
That's
a Bible verse we actually send out with all our products and everything because it's, something that we believe, and that, it reaches some people. Some people are appreciative of it. Other people, might not say anything, but we've never been cussed out about it. So we're going to keep doing it.
Well, let me say this. In the toughest times, a good word is always good, right? And somebody
Hmm.
might not even you don't even have to be super religious or whatever. Just a good word at a time can always help somebody. Especially
Hmm.
like, like well, go down this hole. So, coming up, we play high school basketball and everybody on my team was from different neighborhoods. I'm from Detroit, right? So whatever you read, that's what it is,
Hmm.
right? So it's way different from Idaho. Detroit's way
Yeah.
different from Idaho.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, so we had the toughest guys from the neighborhoods or whatever, but our coach used to, he was real religious. I came up in the church background. Grandma was always in church. We was always there. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I think and then back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we was always in church.
Hmm.
So our coach used to always bring us Bible verses. Like before practice or after practice, 5 minutes he would teach us Bible verses, and we talking about the
Hmm.
toughest guys that was game banging and all that knew Bible verses. You know what I'm saying? They knew it
Right.
because we was always preached it, and he always you can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens us, and that was one that always stuck with us throughout our whole career. Even now, we talking about when I was in high school, like '94, graduated '98, so
Hmm.
I'm telling my age a little bit, but we still, to this day, they still know that. So like I said,
Right.
good work can go a long way. And that's
Oh yeah.
that's a big ups to y'all, man, that y'all staying true to the game because you don't have to do that. But that's a
Hmm.
reflection on, you and what you're trying to do, and that's why y'all got a lot of blessings and the company is where it's at. Because you putting that
Oh yeah.
word out there, it's only gonna come back, right? And that
Oh
and
yeah.
that's a big ups. That's a big ups to
Hmm.
y'all, man. For doing that. Do you got any kids yet? Do you have any kids?
Oh yeah. I got two boys, 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
So the boy be like, Dad, we about to go We about to go make some freaky guns today. Am I coming down there?
Had my 8-year-old out, over the summer one day, and he was running the machines. It's a real proud moment.
Hey. So did you teach them? Did your dad? I'm assuming. I know your dad did. Did you teach? Did
Hmm.
he? They teach y'all gun safety at a like what
Oh yeah.
age did he teach? Sit down and tell you about gun safety and what they can do and all that.
I'm not sure what age. Is kind of one of those things. My parents, always had guns around as much as I can remember. It was, they showed us, not so much how to use them, but kind of let us shoot them and let us kind of know the importance of gun safety and that it's a tool, but it's also very dangerous if you use it the wrong way. And so it was always something like we weren't allowed to touch them unless we were with my parents and they were helping us and stuff. But it also wasn't something that was so mysterious that it was something we were interested in if we try to find it or get into their guns or anything like that. So, with my kids, it's kind of they're at the point where they, know stuff. They're not too interested in guns and stuff, but they see me, I'm always carrying my gun, and I, instill in them the importance and the safety of, handling firearms properly.
So, and that was the same thing. My granddad and them taught me gun safety. Me and my homeboy created a
Hmm.
book. It's called let me see. Can you see that? It's called Erica's
Oh
Big
yeah.
Day. And it
Yeah.
teaches kids about unsecured firearms. So it
Hmm.
kind of teaches them in a way. And this book's been out about 3 or 4 years. Well, no, it's longer than that. We've been it's slow roll, trying to get kids to understand about unsecured firearms. But that's good that you teaching
Hmm.
your kids at a young age. Shout out to the homeboy,
Hmm.
EDC guy Ron Scipio. It's probably dark. It's dark down here, so you can't really see it. But hey, if anybody's looking for a book to share with your kids about gun safety and all that, please hit up ericasbigday.com. You can definitely order you one. I got some on deck. You can definitely hit me up. I can DM me or whatever on you can just go to my page. You can see all my links, and you can just DM me. But that's cool, man. That
Hmm.
you share all that information because, like I said, my kids, I'm my daughter knows I do interviews and podcasts. She's like, "You got an interview and
Hmm.
podcast today," and I'd be scared that she's gonna go to school and be like, yeah, my dad do podcasts and he shoot guns. I'm like,
Yeah.
dog, you can't. You know what I'm saying? I'd be. She don't. And I guess my wife told her, like, mom's like, hey, whatever's in the house stays in the house. So she got that. But
Right.
my daughter and family is 100% supportive of everything I do. So it's not one of those things that, it's a non-support. It's like they support
Hmm.
everything. And, they call me, hey, what's this? Or what, my mama got her girlfriends calling me about, what to buy and all this stuff. So,
All right
they
on.
trying to get protected and safe. But, hey man, we like an hour and 30. I'm not even gonna hold you that no much longer because I know it's probably like, I don't know, like noon in Idaho. I don't know, because I was just like, man.
It's almost 5.
I was like, I didn't know what the time difference you told me. I was like, I don't
Right.
know if this gonna work at 10 or 11. I'm gonna be in this mug dead to the world, just, dead and over. But I don't want to
Yeah.
hold you that much longer, man. I know you got some work to do. Cause my homeboy
Hmm.
said, man, he's doing late. He must be in the shop all the. He don't even know you. He just like, I guarantee you, he's always in the shop. And when I asked you that, because he told me, he was like, man, he's in the shop because he go that late. He always at work. He always in the shop. So I know
I
you in the.
actually try to keep my weekends, weekends as possible. I live about an hour and a half away from the shop, and
Yeah, that's what I was like. Ooh.
yeah, part of that's on purpose. We really like where we live. When me and my wife got married, she worked for her dad, and so she was over, hour and a half drive. And when we started, thinking about having kids, we're like, all right, let's, move over there, be closer to your family, and we'll switch drives. And now she works from home, or she doesn't work now. She's just, a mom, and she actually is a writer. She just published her first book on Amazon, so that was awesome. And
What is it?
so now
Okay,
she's,
hey, and
yeah.
plug. Let's plug it. What is it? Let's
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 plug it. All
go.
right.
Let's
It's
plug it.
called the Tales We Tell by B. Jutla. It's an awesome book. It's, I'm not a big reader. I've got dyslexia and everything. I haven't read a book since high school, but I read it and it was a great
It's
book. I
called
really enjoyed it.
Amazon
So,
Audible. You just put it in and hit play.
right.
You can
So it's an
download it.
awesome book. Yeah. So definitely check it out. The Tales We Tell by B. Jutla.
And is
But yeah,
that what is
so
it about?
it's
Okay, I ain't gonna
basically
put you on the
a,
spot because if she see
yeah.
this and you mess up, that's your tail.
Right, right. It's a, 17-year-old boy. He recently had to come live with his estranged father, and it's kind of a story of, his traumas in something that happened in his life that you kind of, slowly find out throughout the book, and reconnecting with his father and his father's difficulty of, feeling that he abandoned his son and trying to reconnect and everything else. So it's a really good book. You'll definitely enjoy it.
Okay, definitely. So we
Hmm.
definitely plug it. So like I said, we gonna like let you go, man.
Hmm.
So let's let people know where they can Instagram. Just let them know all your social media platforms and websites and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Floyd's Custom Shop on Facebook, Floyd's underscore custom underscore shop on Instagram. Unfortunately, I can't do live streams on there anymore. So trying to figure that out because Instagram has locked me out for 187 days, and that's
Yeah,
been going for
what
the
did you
last
do?
like
What
six
did you
months.
do to Instagram that they gave you a timeout? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I posted my normal posts. I don't sell anything on Instagram. I just, post pictures of our guns, of our, custom work and stuff. And they started saying, well, this is illegal. You're selling parts and you're selling this and that. And so they dinged me a whole bunch. And it's like at a permanent 187-day ban. I need to figure out how to get a hold of Instagram and try to figure out why that they won't allow me to, do anything. So I recently got X. We are, I think it's Floyd's Custom S on X. So if please give us a follow on there because we're trying to build that one up. I finally got to 19,000 subscribers on Instagram and I can't go live. So
Well,
I'm
and
trying
I'm
to
about
get
to
X up
say
there. So,
it's
mhm,
weird because the homies at the gun range, they went through that and they created like
mhm,
10 different pages. So the pages they got now is okay, but they went through the same
right.
thing. But I guess X is giving more love to us. Let's just say
Yeah,
X is
definitely.
giving more love to what's going on in the 2A community and all that.
Right.
So definitely, like I said, that's a platform, and wherever else you can, but you said X. What about you doing the TikTok videos? You on the TikTok, the tickety talk?
Never been on TikTok. No, the whole,
The
Chinese being able
spyware.
to look at everything. I was like, I don't want to. So
Hey
never
man, I'll
got
be
on
on there.
TikTok.
Sometimes I be on there. I was like, man, I've been on here for 2 hours doing nothing. I have
Right?
not been
Yeah.
productive today for 2 hours. I don't even look
Yeah.
at it no more. But like I said, man, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for, like I said, moving your schedule of time. I know we supposed to start late, coming
Hmm.
early, and I was just like, man, I want to get this interview in, but I don't want to be like, okay, we can push it back. Like, man, it's 10 o'clock late, but you was cool with it, man. Like I said, thanks
Yeah.
for riding with it. So look, if you like what we're doing on the show, on the podcast, Pop Culture 223, please hit that like and subscribe button at the bottom. Share this video, share it to all your friends. We're trying to catch that algorithm. Please, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, everything. If you want us to see us interview somebody else in the future, like I said, leave it in the comments. Maybe we reach out to them. Maybe we can get them. Maybe we can't. But anyway, like we say at the end of the show, man, game recognize game. We recognize you. So please recognize us. And I'm out.